So my name's Jeff Searles. I was born and raised in New Hampshire, and New Hampshire is my home. My career is in New Hampshire. I went to college in New Hampshire. The organizations that I'm a part of and the places that I give to are all in New Hampshire. I'm proud of New Hampshire, and I'm proud of where I'm from. And I think that all stems from the fact that I'm able to call New Hampshire home, because early on, I was one of the first beneficiaries of the resident-owned community model.
Some of my first mentors at the Community Loan Fund were Sisters of Mercy, and they took their own money, their money that was saved for their retirement, and they invested it with us. And I remember them looking me in the eye and saying, "You better do good things with this, and you better pay it back." And that motivation was there for me the whole time I worked here. And the Sisters of Mercy are still investors in the Community Loan Fund, and we're still doing the mission, and we're still making sure investors get repaid. Those two things are connected. The fact that we're doing the mission, people's basic needs are being met, and they're in charge of their own livelihood and their own housing, means they're more likely to repay, and they are.
In Meredith Center, 13 families joined together and formed a cooperative. They borrowed money from the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund, and they bought their trailer park from the landlord.
I don't have to worry about nobody kicking me out. I don't have to worry about my rent going up, because I'm the landlord and I don't intend to go up on my own rent. You could be free and clear of a landlord.
We were getting into a period of expansion of the population of New Hampshire. Land values were rising. Their rents were rising a whole lot quicker than their fixed income.
Everyone in a manufactured housing park was in danger of losing their housing, or losing its affordability, or losing the quality of the conditions. And so then we set about reaching out to all of them. We were the first one to make a list of all the manufactured housing parks in New Hampshire, try to get the word out to them. You're an endangered species, and there's something you can do to take control of your lives.
It was my dad, Robert Searles, a bunch of the people who lived there. They decided to get together. They said, "Hey, we think there's a better way to do this."
People who own these parks did it for speculative reasons. And so when that owner wanted to retire or make some money, they would just sell the land, and the new owner could do anything they wanted with it.
Mobile homes are not mobile. Once they are installed on a lot, you're kind of tied to that lot.
I knew that residents were facing pure catastrophe and homelessness. I promised them I wasn't going to let it happen.
Julie was really fearless. I mean, it was like, it's interesting because the whole field of finance is characterized by risk management and risk mitigation. And we did that, but we were also evaluating risk in a very different way than a financial institution, because our perspective was, how can we make that investment, as opposed to why we needed to turn down something because it didn't meet a standard risk profile. What are the ways that we can figure out how we can say yes?
I grew up in the first resident-owned community, and as a result, I am somebody who can say that when I close my eyes and I think about home, there's a place that I can think about that is home.
Getting a little choked up, but I remember seeing my dad being, "This is it, we've made it." And might be not a lot for a whole lot of people, but for some people, that was it.
The genius of Julie was her creativity in thinking about what are the different ways that we can manage risks so we can actually make the loans that we want to make.
I put aside some of my interest in business lending and went at learning that business. And the manufactured housing was a whole segment that's invisible, but yet serving a lot of low-income people, yet having a lot of problems embedded in it because the people who live there don't control it. So it had all the elements we were looking for, how to bring ownership and control to the land so people can have housing that they can afford and that's good quality and that they can create community in.
As we were doing the work to legally create and organize the fund, there were like two opposite terrors. One is, what if we create a fund and nobody invests? And the other terror was, well, what if we create a fund and there are no projects to finance? And so, we were worried about in creating something in our heads. Would it be usable? Would there be any borrowers? Would there be any investors?
The Community Loan Fund means so much to me. I do a lot of hard work for the community, and sometimes it's, working 7 days a week, long nights, and so just to have that recognition of all the work that I'm trying to do and trying to give back is like the most beautiful feeling to be seen. And in my business, I'm in the job of seeing people, and so it's really wonderful. It kind of feels like being on the other side of it, of being seen by the Community Loan Fund, and it's just been amazingly tremendous.
When we met the Community Loan Fund, we were really at our wits' end. We knew where the business had to go, and we couldn't get there. It took the Community Loan Fund's belief in us to get there. No one else had the belief that we could make it work, and it was really refreshing to sit down with the Community Loan Fund and have them say, "This is what we want to be part of. We want to be part of building small food businesses in our community, and we want to be part of building businesses that can hire local people that need to be hired and need to have a good living."
The mission of the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund is to provide opportunity for all. It does this by organizing the people of New Hampshire into a community. They pool their resources and then lend them to people that have been historically disenfranchised. The real goal of the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund is to make sure that every person in the state can fully participate in the economy and society.
What I hope and believe is that the loan fund will continue to really hang on to that original vision, which is the provision of scarce, valuable resources to individuals who usually don't have access to them.
It wasn't just about raising government money for a single project. The idea of the institution was there's lots of work to be done, multiple projects that are needed, and we wanted to provide an opportunity for any type of investor, not just institutional or government investors, but individuals as well, to sort of invest in their community. The idea of a community loan fund was that there would be multiple investors and multiple borrowers from a fund that was inspired by and capitalized by the communities in which it was located.
What makes me most excited when I think about the future of the Community Loan Fund, first, it's going to be our effort to bring clean energy to low-income people living in affordable housing. We're going to make our resident-owned communities, our rocks, the corner piece of our green strategy. It's not enough to bring clean energy to people that are low income. You have to also reduce their energy bills. Our mortgage lending is incredibly important. We made more mortgages last year than we have at any time in our history. What that signaled to us is not that we're doing a great job, but that there's much more work to be done. One of our efforts is how to make our mortgage lending more inclusive, how to bring it to the growing number of people of color in the state of New Hampshire. We've done a great job of organizing resident-owned communities in the state of New Hampshire. More than a third of the manufactured housing parks in New Hampshire are now resident-owned. Our focus going forward is going to be how to make those resident-owned communities stronger. Last year, we did 25,000 hours of technical assistance across our programs. We thought that was a big number. We now realize it wasn't nearly enough. We're also looking very deeply at our farm and food program, how to deepen it, and how do we bring clean energy to our farms and to our family farms in New Hampshire. Part of the goal is to bring clean energy to help them make those operations cleaner and to help remove the risk of any sort of environmental damage. But we also want to reduce the expenses of operating a family farm in New Hampshire. The more we can lower the expenses for family farms, the better chance we have of keeping family farms in New Hampshire.
On paper, there may be risk. And while I can appreciate that sometimes these financial transactions aren't as black and white or as cookie cutter as what some people who want to mitigate that risk are looking for, based on my experience, both the social return and then just the fact that these people follow up and they pay back shows that, okay, maybe the juice is worth the squeeze on this one.